In this Tech Talk, I am discussing ways to improve yield on the packaging line with Bill Curley, VP of Sales and Marketing for Cavanna Packaging Group. Hi, Bill. Thanks for joining me today.
Hello, Joni. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to you.
So when we talk about ways to improve yield on the packaging line, two concepts come to mind, and that is accumulation and redundancy. Now, putting these two concepts together might seem a little counterintuitive to a baker, but why would you say it's important for bakers to think about these two concepts, and how do they need to be thinking about them?
So as a bakery looks to automate because of the labor crisis we have, they need to consider that no matter what form it is, we build horizontal flow wrapping and cartoning systems, but really, it doesn't really matter what packaging medium we're looking at. It could be a vertical machine, could be a horizontal, could be anything. No matter what type of equipment it is, there will be interruptions. So what do? We have two options, more or less. We can have a redundant asset in the building, an additional packaging piece of equipment or line that sits idle waiting for the event to happen and starts up automatically. Or we could use a buffering system, accumulating the product for a certain period of time, waiting for the machine to be up and running again and refeed, or a first in, first out buffer, or a last in, first out buffer, feeding product to the packaging machine.
Okay, so are there specific products or types of operation that one might lend itself better to the accumulation, or one that lends itself better to redundancy?
Yeah, really a great question. When you're looking at automation, the automation really needs to focus on the packaging medium and the product and the whole line as one, not looking at what's just best for packaging. Accumulating is not right for some products, and redundancy is not right for other products. So really, you need to understand the baking process, the cooling process, the packaging medium you're going to work with. For example, heat seal film doesn't like to start from zero and go up to the running speed immediately. If you're looking at a cold seal, that can easily do it from zero to whatever speed you want to run. But though the balance between the baking process to packaging, there's a marriage between the two, and the packaging supplier needs to understand your needs and have an open dialogue for a successful line and highest OEE.
And, I know Cavanna is experts in packaging automation. So how do you work with bakers to look at every one of those factors and figure out the right marriage to know what is the appropriate solution to be applied to a specific operation or product type?
Yeah, so when we're looking at new automation or existing line where we're looking at automating, the beginning of packaging starts with the beginning of mixing.
Yeah.
And understanding the root cause of the challenges and how the baked product may behave through the oven, how consistent it is, what the range and tolerances are as it comes out on any given day. We know flour behaves differently with humidity, density. There are all sorts of changes that can take place. That is the beginning of the solution to a packaging automation. If we don't look at everything together as one unit, we have problems with packaging.
Yeah. And, I really liked what you said about stoppages, that they will happen. And I feel like this is sort of crisis planning 101, right? You can't just assume that you're not going to have a crisis. It's safer to assume that you will, so that you're ready should one happen. So how can having the right application kind of save an operation should a stoppage or a shutdown happen?
Okay, so Depends upon the type of stoppages and how long they are. If we look at what the packaging industry looks at for an individual machine stoppage, there are micro stops and macro stops. So a macro stop might be like a motor that's out, where it's going to be down for an hour and a half or 2 hours to replace a motor. A micro stop might be a situation where you have crumb and debris buildup over an 8-hour period, and the operator has to intervene, clear out crumbs and debris to get the packaging machine back up and running. So the micro stops is really what we plan for. The macro stops, yes, we can forecast them through Industry 4.0 and AI. We can use technology to forecast when a motor or a gearbox will stop. We can measure temperatures on bearings. There's all sorts of things we can do to mitigate the macro stops, but they too will happen.
Yeah.
So we have to look at what's best case and focus more on the micro stops.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. So then what's the easiest way for a baker to get started in finding out what application is right for their needs?
Partner with a supplier that understands the industry, understands their product, and that is the beginning of packaging automation 101, so to speak, to look at that and really understand the overall goals of the product, how consistent it is, how much time it can be exposed to air before it begins to stale. It's just a lot of questions and answers that work out best. There is no one straight answer that, oh, redundancy is the only way. It is not the only way. And accumulation and buffering is not the only way. And somewhere there might be a balance between the two.
So if a baker wants to get in contact with Cavanna to have these kinds of conversations, what's the quickest and easiest way to do that?
Great way to do it is visit our website at cavanna-usa.com. You can fill out a quick form and we'll get back to you real quick.
All right, great. Well, Bill, thanks so much for taking time to talk to me today. It's very interesting to think about these two concepts at the same time to understand the best ways to improve yield.
Thank you.